All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Tune in every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. for the Malone Radio Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Don't miss the opportunity to learn about the Malone Community Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln and the surrounding area. It's the Malone Radio Show with Executive Director John Goodwin and Sports Director Mike Hunter every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This isn't any regular heat. This is nuclear heat. Live from the 93.7 The Ticket studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. Bringing you the latest from the Square Circle on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Jake Bakovic.
Absolute pleasure to be with you here on a Tuesday night. One of the hottest weeks in wrestling in quite some time as WrestleMania season is coming up. If you're listening on the radio signal, I'd ask you if you like wrestling. I do this every time we get on live because it is important to note. I am talking about wrestling, pro wrestling, not actual wrestling as a sport. This is a wrestling show. Every week we do a WWE Week in Review. And this week is less of a review instead of a preview because we will be looking into WrestleMania season. Again, if you don't like pro wrestling, if it turns you off, if it makes you, your ears bleed, this is probably not the program for you. We do have Super Bowl Novas volleyball coming up here in an hour. If you do like wrestling, or if you do remember at least a time in your life liking wrestling, I would encourage you to check it out this week because it's WrestleMania. WrestleMania is the Super Bowl of wrestling, and there's plenty of fun to be had. I know some wrestling fans, some friends of mine that pay attention to the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, and that's it. They don't get caught up in the week-to-week just like you and I do, Augie. I am Jake Bachman, by the way, your host, along with Augie Pena, Nuclear Heat contributor. So it is a time to get a lot of eyeballs, and so it's a time for us to talk about it. So because we're going to do the preview instead of a review, we will kind of look into night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania and make our predictions. There's a lot of interesting things going on. Obviously, if you have not caught on, if you live under a rock, then let me tell you about The Rock now. But if you have not caught on to what's going on in the world of wrestling, the big deal this year is the return of The Rock, who is they advertise as maybe the most popular man in the world, and they've got an argument. He will be teaming up with his cousin Roman Reigns to take on Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins in night 1. This is leading to a matchup of the undisputed WWE Universal Championship in night 2, where Roman Reigns will take on Cody Rhodes, and Roman Reigns has a long streak, longest in modern day. So that is kind of what's the big matchups this year at WrestleMania, The Rock being included. Let me just say, first of all, Augie, welcome to the show. Welcome to Nuclear Heat. And let me ask you, how are you feeling about WrestleMania this season with your guy, one of your favorite wrestlers of all time, The Rock, being back in the main event of night 1?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I follow the WWE and all that stuff, every show, all that. But, man, just for them to bring The Rock back after so many years of being gone, I think it's been like 10 years now almost since he was in the last wrestle. Well, since he wrestled. We're not going to count when he pinned Eric Rowan, in like the fastest in Dallas. Yeah. But like when he was truly involved in a storyline, man, it's just been great. And him coming back as heel Rock, Hollywood Rock,
the final boss.
Yeah, the final boss. The guy at the top. Just everything. He's there. He's getting rid of the PG era right now. It seems like he's going back to that. The attitude era. He's dropping curse bombs everywhere. All that stuff. It's great. It's great.
It's perfect.
He's just everything he's doing is great. And it's a lot of fun to see them. Really bring it all together. Build the storylines, build him up. Him just him talking. In the mic it's just gold. And then last night was like the first time he's really been involved in any action. where he took hits, and man, those oversells, you forget how great he is. Every time he gets hit, just he just oversells the crap out of everything, and it's just the greatest thing out there. And it's just I'm just so excited. I don't know how else to say it on there, and I just can't wait for Saturday and Sunday night. Because they're gonna have them essentially two main events on WrestleMania card.
Well, and there's so many different ways they can go. I mean, a lot of people would argue you've got to have Cody win this match so you can stop this feud that's been going 2 years. I could see it going 3 because there's just so many different ways that they can go with this. They've kind of I think the Raw after WrestleMania, my prediction will be a Triple H appearance because they've kind of thrown that to the side because, The Rock and Triple H are going to naturally down the line storyline, at least feud about who's in charge there. So, I mean, there's just so much fun to be had. Even in Raw after WrestleMania, that I can't wait. And that's part of it. I mean, SmackDown has the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. It bleeds over. I don't know if they're still doing the NXT Takeover thing, but they were doing that for a few years. But now they got 2 nights of WrestleMania and then Raw after WrestleMania. It's not just WrestleMania. It's just the whole setup and then the rebuild for the next year. I mean, it's just so much fun. So let's go ahead and jump into some of our predictions. Let's start with that Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale. One of my favorite battle royals. I can't call it my favorite one. Obviously, the Royal Rumble it takes precedence, but I do like this tradition, which started about 10, 11 years ago with Cesaro winning at WrestleMania. Now it's been moved to the SmackDown kind of card and spot every year. And this year, it's your usual mid-card feud. It's kind of your mid-card battle to see who can kind of get some momentum despite not being on the WrestleMania card. So this year, your competitors are Akira Tozawa, definitely not going to win. Andrade, who actually is probably going to have a chance here. Apollo Crews, Ashanti the Adonis, Bronson Reed, I think another contender in this thing. Brutus Creed, Cameron Grimes, and Cedric Alexander, who I didn't know were on the roster. Chad Gable, who's got his own kind of interesting thing going on, trying to coach up Sammy. Elton Prince, Ivar, JD McDonough, Julius Creed, Kit Wilson, the return of Omos, Otis, Ricochet, Senga, and Shinsuke Nakamura. And I almost forgot Veer, who had so many promos a few years ago and now is getting buried along with Sanga. So it is one of those deals where it's kind of you kind of check yourself because you realize you're not at the top of the card. You're not getting a WrestleMania spot. But it is always interesting to see where they go. Though I will say past winners of the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, they don't always keep their momentum very well after the win. All that being said, who would be your prediction among that group?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to go with a little bit of wild card here. I'm going to say Andrade, just kind of with what happened last night on Raw. Dominic Mysterio essentially shook his hand and said, if you take care of Ricochet, who's in this, you're in the Judgment Day. So to me, that's, he could just eliminate Ricochet, but if he wins that this Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale, I mean, that, can cause the end of the Judgment Day because, the other members weren't happy. Just a lot of a storyline in there. But my runner-up is, kind of stealing from you, Ricochet. I mean, he's been on a roll here like the past 4 weeks now. Yeah. And we've been talking about it. What are they doing with him? Could mount to a big Andre the Giant win here. So
yeah. I mean, he's spectacular as far as in the ring, and it always a great sight for somebody that actually goes to the event. Not always the best promo, not always the most interesting character. So sometimes you need to kind of strap him with something. I think this would be a good spot for Ricochet. Like I said, there's only about 4 or 5 guys that you realistically think would get a win here. I think Andrade, because of what you said with his kind of deal with Judgment Day to actually take out Ricochet, that's the most interesting feud of all this going in there. Chad Gable being involved is interesting, but I don't know. I mean, I will say this. It is kind of odd to see Gunther's buddies not hanging around, not in this match, not in the 6-pack ladder match. So maybe they will get involved because they were, we understand they're the lackeys for Gunther, but they've got TV time, maybe more than just about anybody this past year. So it's surprising not to see them not even be in the Andre.
Yeah, now that you point that out, I mean, where have they been? They haven't even been with Gunther, not even at his side. So that's that is a little alarming there. I predict they'll probably make an appearance, during Gunther's match, they'll come out with him. But man, Ludwig Kaiser,
Ludwig Kaiser,
Ludwig Kaiser. Wow,
way,
sorry. Yeah, almost got it right. We'll just say he's winning in life, and all that stuff. But
Was it Tiffany Stratton he's dating?
Yeah, I think so.
Somebody,
I think
can't
so
remember
there.
who it was, but.
But just the fact that, he kind of felt like he was getting a push and now they're nowhere, until you mentioned them. I'm like,
yeah,
where have they been?
They,
the Imperium storyline was kind of dominating. You thought it could be an Imperium Judgment Day WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
They're nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's very strange. So we'll see if anything comes out of that. The only other matchup for SmackDown would be Solo Sikoa and Jey Uso. Just kind of sad. Another guy in Solo that I think should have more of a spotlight. Maybe as we bring up Gunther, would have been great to see a Solo Sikoa Gunther matchup for the Intercontinental Championship. But he's been taking so many pins, and I mean he it was just very deflating on Raw last night when Seth Rollins basically challenged The Rock or Roman Reigns, and Solo takes all the the energy out of the room by saying, "You'll take on me." So I don't expect so much out of that match. Hopefully, maybe give Jimmy and Jay, Jimmy a spot to kind of get more heat on that Jimmy Jey Uso feud at WrestleMania, because they kind of threw that out of the way with Rock blowing Jey Uso out of the backstage at Raw, just throwing him off him. Before they got to setting it up last night. So I don't know what to expect too much out of there.
Nobody's going to finish it. Nobody's going to win. Everybody from the Bloodline storyline, like you said, is going to probably get involved on there. That's kind of where I'm going. Jimmy will, Cody, Seth, they'll all get involved in their own way, kind of set that up. You got to feel really bad for Solo. I mean, I think last night was one of the first times I've heard him really say something. It was just so awkward, because he just comes out and he's like, Seth, you're not facing him. You're facing me. And, it's kind of like, there's a reason they didn't have you talk. There's a reason they didn't have you talk. And, I joked about it. He's still waiting to see who's the winner between he and Seth Rollins. That match never ended last night. Nobody got pinned. So that's kind of putting the funny part there. But yeah, I expect a lot of interference, especially if this is probably going to be, close to the end of SmackDown, maybe. So, the Bloodline comes out, right before WrestleMania, all that fun stuff there. So that's kind of what I expect out of that.
By the way, you can join on the show at any time, 402-464-5685, if you want to text in and give us your thoughts. Cigar Guy says, I haven't watched wrestling in so many years, but I do enjoy hearing you guys talk about it. Honest question, who is the current version of Ultimate Warrior? Says gives away my age a little bit, but fun guy, all about the look and the body. As I was kind of thinking, back then you had more over-the-top characters. And that was kind of part of wrestling. Now they kind of want you to be more believable, and I mean, you'll still have characters here and there. I would almost say Seth Rollins is the closest to the Ultimate Warrior right now with his gimmick.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because that's exactly who I was thinking of. Just a guy that he kind of takes over like a Joker personality.
Yeah,
kind of
crazy outfit.
Yeah, crazy outfit, weird glasses with a third lens on it. The third eye. It just I could see that. Kind of the ultimate. The Ultimate Warrior, come back from injuries, all that stuff, and just very over the top. So Seth Rollins, I think, is a good pick there.
Although the Ultimate Warrior too, and people just think, and I mean, I've heard stories of people naming their kids the Ultimate Warrior. So I mean, it was way over it, but people think that means that he was in the mix for like the big titles, but he was more of an Intercontinental mid-card guy. And I do feel a little bit bad about comparing. I think that's the best comparison. But Seth is kind of just a goofball, and I don't think the Ultimate Warrior was quite that. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of a weird thing, because we've said it before. We don't quite get the Seth Rollins thing, but it's wildly over. So they've just been rolling with it. But I would say that's probably the closest we've got. All right, let's jump into night one of WrestleMania, the card there. Let's start with this one. We'll move on into the more important matches as we keep talking. Rey Mysterio, great to see him at another WrestleMania. I was surprised to see him actually included this year, because the LWO Legado del Fantasma feud just didn't quite seem to get make the cutoff, probably to be WrestleMania important. But they said, yeah, we're going to do it. They said, we're going to go ahead and do it. They got Dominic Mysterio involved, which I think has helped, because there's natural heat there. But then the surprising reveal of Rey Mysterio's partner being Dragon Lee really deflates this match in a lot of ways to me. So it's Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee against Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio. The fact that Dragon Lee has a spot on this card, and Tiffany Stratton and Braun Breaker and some of the others don't, is... I mean, I just kind of tells you what, and I'm not alone. I don't think there was a pop for Dragon Lee. No, he's you can kind of try to say he's supposed to be positioned as the next Rey Mysterio, but he's not even Sin Cara.
Yeah.
So, it's just, I don't know about this. And I guess for a prediction, I'll go ahead and predict that they win. Because I think the good guys getting a win. I just don't see them giving a win to Dominic. For some reason, they don't see value in that. I think they more would like Dominic to get pinned here. So I think I see maybe Dragon Lee pinning Dominic.
I think it might be the opposite way. I think Dominic might pin Dragon Lee there. I want to see our boy Dominic get a win. And getting a win at WrestleMania, I think would be huge for him, especially kind of all the behind the scenes stuff that's going on with the Judgment Day. Santos Escobar, his group, Liga de Fantasma, showing up in the Judgment Day locker room type thing last night. Kind of a bunch of weird vibes. They're teasing a bunch of things here. I love Rey Mysterio, and we talked about it. I would have loved to see Carlito be the guy here. Have the old guy. Well, not old, but the old school guys who we grew up with versus kind of the Santos Escobar and Dominic. Then you could be like, okay, they're giving him the rub, on there, because right now, I mean, Rey and Dragon Lee are essentially the same person. They're shorter luchadores. It's gonna be I think it's gonna be a fun match to watch. I don't necessarily think this might be like a pre-show match that because they normally always have those. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Dominic Mysterio and Santos Escobar surprising everybody and getting the win there.
Well, I'll be cheering for him. I just don't know if I see it happening. Let's go on to the next match there. Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill. This has kind of been thrown together with Jade getting her moment as of recently against Damage Control. Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. Of course, the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, part of that, but it doesn't appear that they're going to put their belts on the line because it's 3-on-3 here. I think everybody here is interesting enough. They've been part of the long-term storytelling that everybody, maybe outside of Naomi, deserves a WrestleMania spot. And I'm not saying Naomi doesn't. It's just she's also kind of, since her return, has just kind of been and also, kind of a tag member to these guys. I just don't think this is the best use of Jade Cargill. In fact, they've got the match right there. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair would have been fantastic to add to the card. Maybe they want to save that for another WrestleMania or give them time to tell a better story there and put it on a SummerSlam. But to me, that would have been the way to go.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, we were talking about what are they going to do with Jade Cargill? She just pretty much made her debut Friday, on SmackDown. Yeah. And she's being, included into, this WrestleMania match. And it's very disappointing because, the Kabuki Warriors, who are Asuka and Kairi Sane, two names in one faction there, they're not defending their titles. And that's so disappointing to me. It's really just showing that they don't care about those titles. We'll see on there. The interesting thing to me is Bianca Belair being 3-0, 4-0 at WrestleMania, and Asuka being 0-5. One of those streaks is going to end. And I'm going to predict it's going to probably be Bianca Belair is going to get the win here to go 4-0. So, we'll get into that. And that's my prediction there is I think the Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill, although, we're saying all this, I still think this can be a very good match because they're all very good in the ring. Yeah. And I'm very excited to see what Jade Cargill could do, but I'm with you. I would have loved a Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill thing. They teased it at the Royal Rumble. I just don't get why they didn't pull the trigger on that.
Well, and this just feels like the beginning of a feud rather than the end of a feud, right? It was just kind of late. They kind of throw it together, and maybe it'll just be a quick feud, and then they get it done at WrestleMania. But to your point, too, I think Damage Control, if they were fighting, that would help kind of the feeling of Io Sky and Bayley. If they were fighting for their titles, so you could have, similar to Judgment Day to a degree, where you feel like, they could lose it all at WrestleMania, or they could win it, or they could still be the champions. The fact that they're just not out there again. I mean, this and the fact that Naomi is in the match to face them is actually very funny in long term, because Naomi at one point left the company because of how frustrated they were treating the tag team titles. Yeah. So it just continues to be an also thought to the company.
Yeah. And now that you point that out, that kind of makes me nervous for the Bayley Io Sky storyline, because, that's lost a lot of heat. But like you said, they're not, unless they surprise us and the Kabuki Warriors lose it on SmackDown before Friday, which that's happened before. Stuff like that's happened before, where they kind of have those surprise matches for the lower the lower titles, and hands change. That kind of makes you worried that, is Bayley gonna, do this? Is she gonna pull it off? Good. It keeps us thinking the whole time. It keeps us just, it's going to keep us glued, to the TV. Like, man, what's going to happen here? But yeah, I can see it there. I am curious to see how I said it. I mean, Jade Cargill, she's the main attraction out of this. I think, we'll see her and Bianca Belair are kind of the same, but, Jade just, what they're going to do to, Asuka and Kairi Sane, who aren't the biggest, they're kind of the high flyers. And then you got Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, who like, maybe our height and have like 6-pack abs, out there just gonna, we'll see, we'll see what kind of match this is. But, I can get behind this one a little bit. I think this one, goes middle of the WrestleMania card there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting enough. Despite it being thrown together, all the talents involved, I think will make for a good match. And again, I mean that seriously, because I don't mean to keep going back to it, but Dragon Lee kind of drags down that other tag team match. There's nobody dragging this one down per se, so yeah. That's good. And all apologies to Dragon Lee. It's just very extremely forced.
Yeah,
it's nothing against his talent. It's just where he's placed right now. It was a surprise and not a good surprise. And around WrestleMania season, you like good surprises.
Yeah.
So that just didn't go the way of the WWE fan. In any case, we've got plenty more to talk about here. The 6-pack ladder challenge, Jimmy versus Jey Uso, the Intercontinental Championship, the World Women's World Championship between Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch, as well as the WrestleMania main event from night one, The Rock and Roman Reigns against Cody and Seth Rollins. We'll talk about all that coming up next year on Nuclear Heat on 93.7 The Ticket.
The Omaha Supernovas are back in action this Tuesday, April 2nd, versus the San Diego Mojo at the Viejas Arena in San Diego. The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pearson and Renee Saunders starts at 8 p.m. with first serve at 9. Make sure to tune in to the next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network. For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives.
Banking should feel personal, not intimidating. At Western National Bank, we're about real connections, founded by two ordinary guys with an extraordinary vision to know each and every customer personally. Fees, they suck. Avoid all fees with Western National Bank's Compass checking account. No monthly fees, no minimum balances, and get this, 5.12 APY on the first $1,000. Open your Compass checking account online in 5 minutes or less at mywnb.com. Experience the difference with Western National Bank. Visit mywnb.com. Member FDIC.
Put lawn irrigation on automatic. Think Judson Irrigation for worry-free service to Lincoln homeowners and business community. Judson Irrigation will turn on your sprinkler system in the spring, repair or redesign as needed, and turn it off in the fall. For service to orphan sprinklers, remember Judson Irrigation. They'll never forget you.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage, 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Vershawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Looking for a job that feels like family? Join Lincoln Industries, where tradition meets innovation. They're a family-owned, privately held manufacturing company with a passion for excellence and a commitment to their community. They have openings on all shifts at both the main plant and air park facilities, offering flexibility to fit your schedule. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, there's a place for you there. At Lincoln Industries, they invest in their people's success, providing opportunities for growth and advancement. Apply now and become a part of something special at Lincoln Industries.
Hello. Believe it or not, old phones are one of the most common pain points in offices today. Many of these phones are beyond repair because parts aren't available to fix outdated devices. Whether it's a traditional phone system or cloud-based VoIP technology, Hamilton Business Phones can help upgrade your connection. We make it easy to sync your office phone with your cell for seamless call handling, no matter where you work. If your current office phone can't do this, you deserve better. Hire your local experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Hi, folks. Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the Chevrolet and GMC Truck Month is now underway. We've got huge savings in Louisville. Get $9,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months on select models. Yes, you heard right. That's $9,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months happening right now at Koppel. So take that short money saving drive down 144th Street or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with roof credit. Stock number G214773.
Back to Nuclear Heat with your host, Jake Bakoven, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Happy to be with you here on a Tuesday night, and as we wait for WrestleMania coming this week, and that's why we've changed our WWE Weekend Review show on Nuclear Heat to a week preview as we get up to WrestleMania. We're still on night one. We better jump into it because there are still plenty of matchups to go through here. Six-pack ladder challenge for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships will pin the Judgment Day, Damian Priest and Finn Balor against the Awesome Truth, Miz and R-Truth, DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, and the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Also in this match, New Catch Republic, the Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, and A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. You think, is there any way Judgment Day retains out of this group?
I don't really believe so. So what I think is going to happen is I think that, and I kind of spoiled this a little bit if you listened before, R-Truth is going to grab one of the titles and is going to forget that he needs to grab both, and he will accidentally split them, which is what the WWE needs to do.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of open season. I think one of the SmackDown team, I think the Judgment Day are going to lose them here.
You think R-Truth goofiness is going to win?
Yes, 100%. 100%. And then I think one of these, maybe Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, because they're the guys that kind of had some momentum, prior in their careers. You could see that, everybody being confused, them realizing it happened, R-Truth, The Miz, yeah. And then they grab it. So I'm going to say Judgment Day lose it. Miz and R-Truth take the Raw Tag Team Champs, and then Austin Theory and Grayson Waller are going to take the SmackDown Champs.
Oh, wow. That's a quite a prediction. I do think that the Miz and R-Truth ultimately come out of this. I think that would be a good long storytelling, and it's just a fun moment. Yeah. R-Truth is probably deserves this with some of the comedy act that he's done over the last couple of months. And so I think that's kind of the fun story that we get out of this at WrestleMania. I also think it kind of gets you similar to when Seth Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank years ago at WrestleMania. Kind of gives you the idea that Damian Priest is having a bad weekend. You kind of forget about him. So we'll kind of see what happens. There's a lot to see what happens with Judgment Day over the next few days. All right, let's go to Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso, the battle of the brothers. This feud took a hit last night when Rock just kind of brushed Jey Uso off his shoulder. Just kind of threw him right out of the locker room if you saw it on Raw. It's kind of interesting, this one. I would have to side with Jimmy here, I think, just because they're going. I mean, Jey Uso is wildly over with his hand movements and stuff, but Jimmy Uso, I think they're gonna tell the story, and this might give you a hint to what I'm predicting later. Is that Cody Rhodes is not winning the weekend heading into his final matchup with Roman Reigns, and I think a Jey Uso loss, maybe Solo Sikoa gets involved in this one, and Jimmy gets the victory.
Okay, so you're saying no yeet then is what?
No yeet.
That's
correct.
So I'm gonna turn around. I'm gonna say the Bloodline have a horrible WrestleMania because you gotta it's kind of what the build up. I'm gonna go Jay. Just because he is the brother that's been built up. He does have the fans behind him. He's a more popular guy. He's been involved more. just individually, he's done more. Jimmy's kind of just the lackey the whole time, and all that. So yeah, I'm gonna go Jay. So yeet all the way.
Whether or not he wins, I still say no yeet because I'm not cool with the lingo, I suppose. Intercontinental Championship between Gunther and Sami Zayn. Of course, Sami Zayn has been being helped by Chad Gable to get ready for this match, but Gunther just tossed Sami Zayn and Chad Gable aside last night. We've mentioned Imperium. Gunther's henchmen haven't been around, so maybe they make an appearance here. Let me just ask you, very, very movie-like, very Hollywood-like little promo last night with Sami Zayn and Chad Gable, kind of a Rocky 3 type of vibes.
Yeah.
And Sami ultimately saying that he's got to prove it because he doesn't believe in himself. And it's just this ultimate prove-it move for Sami Zayn against Gunther. Basically, if Sami wins, I riot.
Dude, you stole the words right out of my mouth.
Gunther.
I was literally if you're going to ask me, I'm going to say if Sami wins, we riot.
That's right.
On there, he can't be the one that dethrones Gunther after this, incredible Intercontinental title run. It's got to be somebody. It would be the most disappointing moment I think I can remember in a WrestleMania. And I know that puts a lot on Sami Zayn because he's great. We talked about it. He was built up great last year. You feel bad for him. But he cannot be the guy because it'll be one of the most disappointing moments, I think, in WrestleMania history if he is the guy that pins Gunther here. So I think I'm going to go 100% Gunther is retaining this title. It'll be a good match.
Yeah.
I think there'll be some interference. Chad will kind of be there. I think Imperium will get involved a little bit. But Gunther has to retain. He has to on this.
Yeah, for how much they've built up Gunther, for how much better a matchup with Gunther and Chad Gable would have been. I mean, they've missed the boat on this. They should have had somebody lined up, and maybe they've talked. Maybe they had Brock there, and now they had to make a switch, which would make some sense. But Sami's just not near the character he was last year. They're kind of reaching, grasping at straws here. Gunther's got to win this one. I don't know if I'll be quite as disappointed as you will, but I would be very disappointed if they give it to Sami. Another night one could be a main event, but as we know, there's big things in store. But this could have been the main event: is the Women's World Championship between Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. Rhea Ripley right now kind of the heel, but the one in Australia, is she breaking up with the Judgment Day? A lot of questions surrounding it, not necessarily being respectful to Becky Lynch and her motherhood, saying that Becky Lynch's daughter will call Rhea Ripley mommy by the end of all of this, has kind of been the story. They did play, blur the lines of realism with their interruption in an interview the other day. I think it's been pretty well built.
Yeah.
But I there's just a few matchups here where, again, I might riot if Rhea Ripley does not win because she's so over. Becky Lynch doesn't need this at all. I'm interested to see in every which way what happens with Judgment Day and Rhea Ripley moving forward. But the reign of Rhea Ripley cannot end quite yet.
No, I agree. We talked about it. Her title reign was kind of stale, at the beginning. But then you really break it down. There is nobody. The reason that happens is there's nobody that can realistically take it from her. There's nobody else that can build. Because she is just the hottest star right now, on the WWE women's side of it all. So, yeah, I agree with you. This is another, circle, pencil, chalk. Rhea Ripley has to retain this. I'm very curious in this because they are both very good. They're great in the ring. And I kind of want to see how Dominic gets involved. Dominic's getting involved in this one. And, Becky's already punched him out a couple times. So I kind of want to see that. But there's no way the WWE creative can be like, Becky Lynch is taking this title from Rhea. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, Becky Lynch, who spent part of the year putting NXT talent over. Yeah. I mean, she's done a good job in that role, and I think she'll continue to do it. But I think this is definitely Rhea Ripley's time, and Becky Lynch's peak has probably surpassed her. Let's go on to the main event of night one: The Rock and Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. Of course, if The Rock and Roman Reigns win, that means Bloodline rules for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship the following night on night 2 of WrestleMania, Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. We finished Raw with The Rock and Roman Reigns standing tall. Are we going to do the same thing at night 1 of WrestleMania?
I really thought so, but man, when do you see in a story where they beat somebody down so much they don't have them coming out on top? And I know Cody has a match for night 2, but you got to think Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes they can't go out like this, right? Like, they've been humiliated. They got humiliated. Like
yeah.
Roman Reigns held Seth Rollins, and The Rock had a belt and was whooping him,
right,
like on live TV, like you can't have your world heavyweight champ go out like that. So,
and that was in a Bloodlines rule match, which is interesting. Are they trying to show you how dangerous that will be, or are they getting the Bloodlines rule match out of the way for the fact, so you can say we saw still a Bloodline rule. And so it's just it's interesting.
It is, because you kind of want The Rock and Roman to win, so that way Cody has to go through everybody to win if he's going to win.
Yeah.
But man, I just, and then you can't have them. I'll make it simple. I say all that. The Rock and Roman are going to win this one. It's going to be that. But I still think there's going to be some swerves that happen here, man. I think people are going to interfere.
Oh yeah.
Seth Rollins might make a turn. Because he's been hinting at it. Nope. The last 2 weeks they've been very quiet about everybody questioning, if Cody can trust Seth Rollins. But you just don't know what's going to happen. And that's what I love. I'm just so excited for this match in particular here. But you know what? I'm going to say The Rock and Roman win, just so that way Cody has a higher mountain to climb night 2.
That's what I think too. It's great that these factions, and they've kind of put turmoil amongst a lot of these factions, and the Bloodline. They've got the long-term turmoil, obviously, where they've breaking off members and with Sami Zayn and Jey Uso and all that. But they've been kind of they look unstoppable lately. So it would be a swerve if they do, and they could have this, The Rock and Roman Reigns lose on night 1, but then that means The Rock has to get pinned.
Yeah.
Right. So, then Roman would be mad at The Rock. Maybe that causes a turn at WrestleMania from The Rock. I mean, who knows? I mean, there's just so many possibilities here, but I agree with you. Ultimately, I think that they want to tell the story of this unsurmountable mountain that Cody Rhodes can't get over. But then also night 1, if Seth Rollins loses, you got to think about the Seth Rollins implications. If Seth Rollins loses, what does that mean for the World Heavyweight Championship? Just so many fascinating storylines to go through that. But I do agree with you. I think Rock and Roman set up Bloodlines rules for night 2. All right, let's take a quick break. This is Nuclear Heat on 93.7 The Ticket. We've been through night 1 of WrestleMania. Let's preview night 2 of WrestleMania coming up next with LA Knight and AJ Styles going at it. Of course, the United States Championship triple threat with RKO, Logan Paul, and Kevin Owens. The Women's Championship match between Io Sky and Bayley. Just mentioned Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. And then that undisputed WWE Universal Championship, Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. We'll preview that next year on Nuclear Heat on 93.7 The Ticket.
Put lawn irrigation on automatic. Think Judson Irrigation for worry-free service to Lincoln homeowners and business community. Judson Irrigation will turn on your sprinkler system in the spring, repair or redesign as needed, and turn it off in the fall. For service to orphan sprinklers, remember Judson Irrigation. They'll never forget you.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
The Omaha Supernovas are back in action this Tuesday, April 2nd, versus the San Diego Mojo at the Viejas Arena in San Diego. The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pearson and Renee Saunders starts at 8 p.m. with first serve at 9. Make sure to tune in to the next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl Jordan with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Women may be complicated, but I make sure buying jewelry isn't. Your gal has a style, and you can figure this out. Is she more of a classic necklace kind of gal, or does she rock the boho chic vibe with layers of delicate bracelets? This is crucial intel. Not trusting your intel? Stop in the store and we'll sort out the details. I promise to make this super easy. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you are passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Looking for a job that feels like family? Join Lincoln Industries, where tradition meets innovation. They're a family-owned, privately held manufacturing company with a passion for excellence and a commitment to their community. They have openings on all shifts at both the main plant and air park facilities, offering flexibility to fit your schedule. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, there's a place for you there. At Lincoln Industries, they invest in their people's success, providing opportunities for growth and advancement. Apply now and become a part of something special at Lincoln Industries.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot, and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Aloe Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela. They let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit aloefiber.com to switch today.
Back to Nuclear Heat with your host, Jake Bakoven on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It is Jake Bakoven here on Nuclear Heat alongside Nuclear Heat contributor Augie Pena. We are running through WrestleMania, the WrestleMania card, and predicting, as we usually do a review show, but we like to predict forward the week of WrestleMania. We've been through night one. We also went through the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which will be Friday night on SmackDown. Let's jump into night two of WrestleMania from Philadelphia's card here. We'll start with the one that nobody wants or asked for, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits against the Final Testament. These guys have been battling for months, 50-50 booking, one team winning, another team winning, which is the same thing. Sorry, I'm going on a bit of a rant here. The same thing that Karrion Kross does with everybody before ultimately losing the feud. I got to think that's going to happen again here. Bobby Lashley, probably the most to lose. He shouldn't even be associated with this whole thing. But Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, I think, will get the win against Final Testament. The problem, of course, is if they don't, it doesn't matter. But that's my pick, I guess. I just am so surprised that despite, and it clearly was their WrestleMania plan. They must have thought this was going to be a way better position than it is. And they're kind of forcing it here, but I'm just surprised to see this on the card altogether.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Not much to say, except other than Bobby Lashley was the man that won the Andre the Giant Battle Royale last year.
That's
so,
right.
Hey, this is the pushy guy. He's on the WrestleMania card. There you go, Bobby. But Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits should run away with this one, and then it should be done. It's over. Stop it. Like Karrion Kross, authors of pain, just sorry, this has got to go.
Well, I've already told you my matchups that I'd rather see Gunther face. I think Bobby Lashley would be another one. You know, they throw a Braun Breaker in there. There's just a couple other matchups. You just, man, they could have made something pretty good out of that. But yeah, you're right. At least Bobby's on the card this year. LA Knight against AJ Styles. Again, another story of these guys kind of costing each other their opportunities the last couple of months. The problem is AJ Styles hasn't been winning a lot. They're just kind of using the fact that he's AJ Styles and a Triple Crown winner and all that. A little bit underwhelmed with this. I think halfway through the year, we were thinking maybe LA Knight might be on the main event of WrestleMania, and it hasn't gone quite that way. Are you still interested in LA Knight in his feud with AJ Styles?
I'm an LA Knight fan, but this, I mean, and there was a great segment, when LA Knight went into his house, 2 weeks ago. So they're trying just, AJ Styles wasn't really around, they kind of just brought him around for, it feels like this match, but you got to think LA Knight's got to win this one. He's not much younger, but he's the younger guy, needs the rub. Hopefully, he had the crowd behind him for the last year. So I think you got to go with LA Knight in this one.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you for all the reasons that you said. They got to keep his momentum going and see if they can get something for him. But again, I think they could have, and AJ Styles is a good name, especially in wrestling. A lot of fans would disagree with this, but I feel a little underwhelmed from where LA Knight could have been, I think, for this WrestleMania. Let's go to the United States Championship triple threat match between Logan Paul, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens. I think this is one of the more unpredictable matches, just because I think Logan Paul would get the most out of winning. But maybe they feel like this is where they could stop his championship reign. Randy can win at any match, anytime, and it's not the wrong decision.
Yeah.
He's one of those few guys. I think Triple H is kind of in that category. And then Kevin Owens, who the crowd's behind. And you could maybe do something with it. I suppose if you wanted to take the belt off of Logan, he would gain the most from it, more than Randy would. So it's a tough one to predict. I'm ultimately going to think that they continue. I think this is a buildup to kind of give Logan Paul more. I think he's on this mission to prove that he belongs, rather than, that he's just given the opportunity because of who he is. So I think they go with Logan Paul, but I would not be surprised if any three of these came out the champion, or the victory and the champion.
No, I agree with you 100%. I think this one is going to be, this could be the match of the second night, the most entertaining on there, all the shenanigans, everything we're going to see from Logan Paul. But I think Logan Paul is going to retain. I say unfortunately because I love Randy to win, but I think the logical, way to go with it is Logan Paul retains.
Then we have the WWE Women's Championship between Io Sky and Bayley. Of course, this is a long-term story as well from the Damage Control breakup. Has probably lost a little bit of heat just because it's kind of played second feature, I suppose, to Damage Control lately, getting into it with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair and Naomi. But still, I mean, this was the right match. It was easy to tell from months out that this was the way to go. And it's got to be Bayley that wins it, right? I mean, that's the story.
I mean, I agree. Yeah, everybody was behind Bayley. Everybody was excited for the breakup. And as you said, it kind of played second fiddle to the whole Damage Control story. And you got to say Bayley's got to come out champ. Io Sky's a great performer, but I hate to say it, a weak champion. Just the language barrier there. They just haven't really done much for her. Yeah, she's not very big. It'll be a fun match, but Bayley's got to come out on top.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder too. I mean, some of these you look in and kind of think, a year from now, where's Io Sky going to be? I don't know what they're going to do with Damage Control, but you're right. They've tried to position her. They've given her a lot of big victories with the help of Damage Control, but like Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair and all that. So they've made this worth Bayley overcoming the obstacles for, which is why, I mean, it's just, you can see the story coming from a mile away. So unless they want to swerve at the end, Bayley's the natural pick there. World Heavyweight Championship between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. Seth Rollins, of course, having a problem focusing on Drew McIntyre, according to Drew. Also, CM Punk will be at ringside calling this match. So a lot of things can happen.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think the way this has been told, built, it's got to be Drew McIntyre, right? They got to be building this up to take the belt away from Seth Rollins. Just everything has kind of been in Drew McIntyre. He's solely focused on this. As you mentioned, Seth Rollins hasn't been focusing on this, kind of admitted he doesn't need to focus on this because he says, he's beat Drew. So I think Drew McIntyre, and Drew has just been killing it on the mic and everything. It makes sense to make him the world heavyweight champ.
I think so too. I think that's the way that they should go. I think that you could even see an attempted cash in here.
Yep.
From Damian Priest of the Judgment Day, and he's one of the rare examples, though, I think, that could cash in and not win and still have gained quite a bit from being Senor Money in the Bank, as he's called, or Mr. Money in the Bank. I think they do the math or whatever, is 80% go on to be champions or whatever, and there are a few that don't. And those that don't usually, I mean, it's just hard to watch. I mean, we've to include Austin Theory over the past year. I mean, it sucked a lot out of his character. But I think Damian Priest, that almost would add the intrigue, similar to Drew McIntyre, that he had a missed opportunity that he has to cash in down the line. We got to go pretty quickly here. Got a minute and a half left of the show before we get to Supernova's volleyball. So I'll line it up for you. Undisputed WWE Universal Championship, Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. Of course, according to both our prediction, would be bloodline rules in here.
Yeah.
Could they possibly string out Cody Rhodes to a third installment of this next year? Maybe they don't do that. A lot of people feel Cody has to finish the story.
Yeah, I feel he has to finish the story, because if he does not, the world is going to end. We're going to have, social media meltdown. There's no way they can give him a third try at this. It'd be such a big disappointment, but I'm very excited to see what the WWE does here. But I got to say, Cody's got to win. I mean, they're shoving him down our throat. They've got to be doing it for a reason. It's to give him this title.
Yeah. And we've said it before, didn't always get the Cody stuff, understanding of it, understood the AEW, but maybe wouldn't put him quite as high on the card. But I can't lie. They've brought even me in, like doubters that weren't quite there. Maybe LA Knight fans. They've brought me in because of how well they've told this story. I do think that it ends up with Cody Rhodes winning, and then Roman Reigns and The Rock, which doesn't need a title on it. Maybe we'll feud going into SummerSlam. So we'll see it there. That'll wrap it up for Nuclear Heat, our WWE Week in Review. We'll be back next week, and we'll do a review. We'll review WrestleMania coming up next week and the Raw after WrestleMania. That'll be next week. But for now, stay tuned for Supernova's pregame show here on 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you looking to get